Thank you. I now call on the House to sing the national anthem. Would someone please? Thank you. You may be seated. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome the Deputy Chairman of Committees, the Honorable Mr. M. Kanyani, and ask him to declare the Johannesburg City Hall the precinct of the Johannesburg Legislature.
Good morning. Let me take up this opportunity to welcome all of you here and again to express our sincere appreciation that you were able to make it today. And again, I also reflected in the brief that after a long time, we are able to sit and be together today. You'll recall that the previous sittings were disturbed by the COVID. We have to do everything through the visual platforms. But today, here we are. Let's thank our prayers. Let's thank our belief. Let's thank our determination that we are going to defeat this scourge that we are facing. But for now, we are here, and we are really happy that we've made it. On that note, ke rata go le leboga ka moka ga lena, ke le amogele, ke re all of you, I wish your discussions, your debates, the resolution that we're going to take, let it be something living. Let it be something that will change your lives. And that is our noblest wish. On that note, we thank you a million.
Thank you, Honorable M. Kanyane, for your declaration of the precinct. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome the Speaker of the Council, Councillor Rafaelu Kekana, and ask her to deliver the welcoming address to the House.
Morning to everyone. Let me take this opportunity to greet all of you honorable members. You are honorable members today. This is your parliament, therefore you are honorable. Let me also greet my colleagues who are seated there at the back, the Deputy Chair of Chairs, the MEC for Health, the MEC for Social Development, Memorakani Musupie, the Deputy Chief Whip, Metogozile Magagula, and the Deputy Speaker of the Legislature, Honorable Voyo Mahlakazi Manamel. And everyone else who might not be a member, all the members of the media, and all the officials who are here, as well as everyone who is joining us on social media. Mosebetsi wa ka o monyane fela. All I have to do is to declare this occasion officially open. And I would like to say that the Deputy Chair of Committees has already welcomed us, and mine is to declare the sector parliament officially open, and wish to thank all the participants from the various organizations that you represent, as well as from your various eminence for gracing this important occasion. We meet here today under the theme, Listen to the Voices of the Older Persons amid the COVID-19 virus pandemic. We know that it has been said that pandemics occur in every 100 years. And we have lived, us here in this house, have lived to experience life under COVID-19 pandemic. We all have stories to tell about our experiences during this difficult period, but we know that most of you, as older people, specifically experience unique challenges affecting yourselves directly. And last week when we were here gathered on the feedback session, we gathered, we got to learn about most of the difficulties that our elderly people had to endure during the COVID-19 pandemic. The strict lockdown conditions further affected your general well-being, your mental, as well as your physical health. Moreover, it impacted on your economic situation. You were also most at risk of contracting this deadly disease, and you were also the category of individuals who suffered the most severe form of illness. However, you persevered, and we thank you that you heeded the call like all responsible citizens. You stayed at home and you observed the health protocols as required by government. And I think for that, you must really give yourselves a round of applause. And by now, we all hope that most, if not all of you, have taken your vaccinations. And in doing so, we also encourage our family members to do so, so that in due time we can reach herd immunity as a nation, so that we do not experience the impact of this disease like we have in the previous year. And I'm told that this is your gathering, as well as you know that this is your gathering today. So the leadership is here to listen to you. We are not here to make speeches, to take most of the time making speeches. We are here to listen to what you elderly people have to say about the topics that have been outlined, which are going to be discussed through your 3 commissions. So on that note, Honorable Speaker, I would like to declare this function officially open, and I thank you very much, and we wish you well in your deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Refilwe Kekana. I would like to welcome Deputy Speaker, Speaker of the Gauteng Legislature, to address the House on purpose of this event. Deputy Speaker.
Thank you much. Thanks, Speaker of the Day. Mayor Refilwe, thanks for the welcome. I'd like to give salutations to the following people: chairpersons of committees, Honorable Malobane, in absentia, Deputy Chair of committees, Honorable Kanyana, MEC for Social Development, Honorable Murakane, Chairperson Social Development, Honorable Kekane, honorable members of the House, like it has been mentioned that you are honorable members today, colleagues and friends, ladies and gentlemen, abokoko nabomkhulu. It is a great pleasure, Speaker, and honor for me to present to you the purpose of the Senior Citizen Sector Parliament once more, at the time when our country needs your wisdom and knowledge than ever before. Few weeks we came from the local government elections, where most of the senior citizens came in numbers to cast their vote. I know that you did the right thing and voted correctly. Let me take this opportunity to thank you for your leadership and guidance that we so greatly need, and your knowledge at all material times. Siyabonga, realeboga. The theme of this sector is pandemics. Pandemics, do they change how we address age and aging? And this is a reminder of our collective responsibility to protect and fulfill the aspirations of our senior citizens. Having said that, this event will highlight the challenges of senior citizens and seek to establish legitimate platforms for empowerment, promotion, and maintenance of your status, rights, well-being, safety, and your security, as well as to provide channels for discussions and implementation of resolutions emanating from this sector parliament today. I strongly believe that the elderly must play their role in society in guiding the younger generation on various matters through their wisdom and over many years, likewise believing that the senior citizens must and will play an increasingly greater role through a platform and organization of their own. Speaker, allow me to get to why we are here, purpose of the event. The purpose of the Senior Citizen Parliament is to empower you to participate in the governance of this province, as citizens of this province. Provide a platform for elders to debate their issues hosted by the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, to encourage debates and engagements for the betterment of the sector. Amongst others, this sector parliament seeks to target and achieve the following: provide an opportunity for the elderly citizens to engage with provincial leaders on issues that affect them, to profile the constitutional mandates of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature, to have engagements on socio-economic challenges faced by the elderly people, and put through recommendations that we assist in dealing with challenges that face them, to strengthen interaction between the elderly and to develop policy regime with the understanding of the province and its dynamics. The event seeks to tackle the question of human rights with the senior citizens within the context of COVID-19 pandemic. It's also an opportunity to embrace senior citizens' role in all political, social, economic, and cultural matters of society. Therefore, the GPL plays a critical role in ensuring that issues affecting senior citizens are addressed through the different portfolio committees such as health, social development, and safety. So this committee has a mandate to make laws encouraging public participation in its programs, as well as conduct oversight of Gauteng Department of Health and Social Development. As Gauteng Provincial Legislature, in partnership with Gauteng Provincial Government, we have a responsibility to support our elderly by crafting laws that are suitable to their needs as senior citizens. Therefore, Speaker, allow me to conclude by saying, I stand before you inspired by the fact that senior citizens are incredible assets of the nation. We must take care and listen to our elderly people. They have knowledge and wisdom that can strengthen our foundation and building a better life for all. Government will never be able to achieve an enabling environment for protection and promotion of rights without the cooperation and active participation of our elderly people. We call on all South Africans to respect, promote, and protect the rights of older persons as contained in our laws. We call on community members to play a key role in development of a caring society, particularly for older persons. Then GPL plays a critical role, lastly, Chair, in ensuring that issues affecting senior citizens are addressed through the Portfolio Committee of Social Development. This committee has a mandate to make laws, encourage public participation in its programs, as well as conduct oversight of Gauteng Department of Social Development, I beg your pardon. So it's therefore my belief that senior citizens can contribute towards a critical role in the life of any organization and institution, as they are the reservoir of knowledge, the institutional memory and custodians of our values and tradition. Chairperson, I'd like to thank you for this opportunity to address this House, and I wish proceedings and everybody else much good luck, and let's take care of our elderly as we try to build a caring society. Thank you very much, Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable Deputy Speaker, for your address. I would like to welcome MEC for Social Development, MEC Marukane.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Allow me to acknowledge in our presence the Deputy Speaker, Honorable Mhlagaza Manamela, the Chairperson of Committees, Honorable Nkosi Malvani in her absentia, my fellow MPLs, Honorable Magagula and Honorable Ncube, the Chairperson of Committees, Honorable Mpapa Kanyani, Chairperson of Social Development Portfolio Committee, Honorable Refilwe Kekana, and yourselves, Baholo Baruna, honorable members, today, ladies and gentlemen, Dumelang, good morning. Firstly, let me take this opportunity to thank the organizers of the Old Persons Parliament for affording older persons the opportunity to raise their challenges and mobilize support for their dignity and respect. Also to express that as Gauteng Provincial Government, we are committed to uplifting and advancing the rights of older persons, thereby ensuring that they are treated with dignity and respect. I am certain we all agree that older persons are a treasure to any self-loving and self-respecting society. They are a source of wisdom, as mediators in social conflicts, and as embodiments of sound moral values that should be espoused by society in general. Throughout the world and in every generation, older persons were granted this status within our communities and in society in general until recently, unfortunately, where older persons became subject to acute abuse. Older persons are increasingly confronted with new challenges brought about by the changing social pressures of our time. For example, due to high unemployment, the grants that older persons receive from government must cater for very large and extended families that depend on this money as the only source of income. A majority of older persons experience a sense of disempowerment. They feel isolated, discarded, and not useful to society. This is because of the manner in which aging is perceived in the country. The worth of an older person is measured on an economic basis, and once they retire, it appears as though they are worthless citizens. These are ills that we must confront. We've witnessed significant changes in older persons' roles in society. In traditional settings, roles and relationships were clear, well understood, and passed from one generation to another. It was the role of older persons as custodians of tradition and cultural practices to pass on this knowledge. Children respected older persons and believed in them. With the advent of formal education and industrialization, the roles of older persons were unfortunately diluted. Despite challenges, older persons have continued to play a meaningful role in heading households, providing leadership and becoming caregivers for sick and orphan children. In simple terms, for older persons fought back for their right to recognition. So as government, our objective is to continuously work on advocacy programs to integrate older persons to communities instead of shortcut responses that yield little to no results. While residential facilities provide care for older persons are needed, what is urgent is the integration of older persons in communities and a provision of support through community-based care and support facilities. So at Social Development, we strongly believe that communities have a responsibility. However, they need to be educated to provide care for older persons within the ambit of the law. Honorable members, Older Persons Act number 13 of 2006 was introduced by government as a response to the challenges older persons are faced with. This important legislation made provision for the protection of the rights of older persons and promoted a shift in services from primary institutional care to community-based care. The Older Persons Act is a necessary affirmation of our principles, and it ensures the respect and it promotes and protects the right of older persons. As the Gauteng Provincial Government, we developed the Older Persons Strategy 2020 to 2025 to promote the rights of older persons. Our vision, insofar as older persons are concerned, is a society for all, a society in which people are enabled to age with security and dignity, and to continue to participate in their communities as citizens with full rights. Furthermore, at Social Development, we contend more attention is needed in ensuring we fully utilize the valuable resources of older persons. It is important that older persons actively participate in issues affecting them as well as other societal activities, hence our gathering here today. Older persons should be regarded as contributors to the country's development and not only as beneficiaries. There's a lot that the country can learn from the experience and the wisdom that older persons has, and Social Development is a custodian of the act that brings that into reality. COVID-19 has been a concern for us as government. Research taught us older persons are more vulnerable to losing their lives due to COVID-19 complications and other chronic diseases. We wish to thank older persons for heeding the call to stay at home, to wear masks and sanitize to protect themselves. We also need to thank you for heeding the call for vaccinations. If I was allowed speaker, I would ask by a show of hands, but I'm not speaker today, so let me behave. Our plea as government is that let us work together as government, NPOs and civil society to uphold the dignity and respect for older persons. Together, we can turn around the situation. So as Social Development, we will continue to mobilize communities to continuously work towards the restoration of the dignity of older persons. And as the lead MEC for older persons in the province, I commit to ensure that the resolutions of the Older Persons Parliament today will be considered by relevant departments, and feedback on progress will be provided in due course. Ke a leboga.
Thank you, Honorable MEC Marukane. I would like to welcome the representative of the IEC to address the House on the importance of voting and the GPL partnership. Thank you. Representative for the IEC. I would like to explain to the chairpersons of the various commissions how we will be dealing with the commission's reports. I believe that during the discussions of commissions in the workshops, each commission agreed on the resolutions that will be presented and tabled in this House today. I will ask the persons designated to present the resolution of the commission and hand over the resolutions to the service officers after the debate, who will then hand them to the table staff seated in front of me. At the end of all the debates, I will hand over all the Commission's resolutions to the Chairman of the Committee of the Legislature so that they can be tabled at their meeting and forwarded to the Executive for action. Will the Secretary please read the first order?
Sanbonani Dumelang. First order, debate on assuming the state of service centers and luncheon clubs during the COVID-19 pandemic.
I now call on the Honorable G. Reedley, the Chairperson for the Commission, to present the Commission's report.
Thank you. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Deputy Speaker, Honorable Members, the House at large, all protocol observed. The South African Institute Act of 108 of 1996 laid the foundation for the transformation agenda of the new democracy to protect the human rights of older persons and to terminate all the forms of racial discrimination and inequality that had been instituted against them by the apartheid state. New legislation was passed in 2006, making provision for the protection of the rights of older persons and shifting services from primarily institutional care to community-based care, with a view to keeping the elderly in the community as long as possible. The purpose of this document is to highlight the rights of the older persons to government services as outlined by the Constitution. the challenges that they face in accessing the services, the interventions by government, as well as the questions to be explored during this sector parliament. One of the focal points emphasized by the South African government is for the elderly to also enjoy their human right while residing within their communities of interest. Whilst there are also institutional residential facilities for the similar purpose, older persons, just like other age groups, have the right to have full access of government services which focuses on their physical, health, and emotional being. These services should not only be fully accessed by those in residential facilities, but those who reside within their communities must have full access as well. The provision of community-based care services require availability of resources which would ensure ease access of these services. Should this element be ignored or not given full attention, the services provided to older persons may be compromised and or in contravention of the guiding legislation. Now, during the pandemic, luncheons and service centers are more important now than ever before due to the following reasons. They get to meet with their peers instead of staying home where they become lonely. They get information on issues relating to older persons. They get easy access to stakeholders. Example, the social workers, officials of the various departments, health, legislature, etc. They also transfer skills to each other like knitting, sewing, beading, exercising, etc. They get to socialize, which minimizes isolated lifestyles. It makes them feel that their lives are purposeful because when you wake up in the morning, you have somewhere to go. It gives them reason to stay well, thus fostering a positive state of mind. My team will now engage in the debate. Thank you, Speaker.
Honorable G. Reedley, for your address. I now call upon the Honorable J. Modise.
Honorable Speaker, Honorable Deputy Speaker, all members and the House at large. I'm Jane Modise from Sidibeng. I'm going to address the challenges facing by the centers. Despite the benefits mentioned earlier, the COVID-19 pandemic has led some service centers being closed to observe the regulation and avoid further spread as usual. That those that are open cannot accommodate all members due to the regulations, guidelines, they are everyday running. Ha COVID ili kodimo gore di center di kwetsi tse ngata di center. Jaanong ke mo bonkgono ba ithabisang ko teng. Bonkgono ba tsoga hoseng ba tla ko di centeng, then ba etsa di exercise ba socializer. Jaanong ka lebaka la COVID ntho ha e sa tlhole e le teng. Jaanong ba dula kwa hae ba gatelelwa ke stress gobane ba dula ba jwa ke bodutu ba touta. Jaanong ke ka mo re boneng hore taba ya COVID ya gore re dula kwa gae bonkgono ha ba etsa dintho tse tlholeng ba di etsa gobane ba kwaletse ke taba ya COVID. Di-center tse ngata le hona yanong ha di so kgone go bula because of the regulation tsa COVID. Jaanong re ne re kopa hore bonkgono ba botlhokwa haholo maphelo a bonkgono a tlhoka ko di-centeng ba transfera le di-skills tsa bona ba rutana ka go loga ka go etsa ntho tse ngata and ha ba le mo ba thaba bonkgono ha ba le ko di-centeng they are very safe because ko magaeng go na le batho ba kenang ko matlong ba batle di-ID tsa bonkgono ba re ba tlo ba fa di-food parcel kanti ba nka di-ID tsa bonkgono ba ilo nka tšhelete tsa bonkgono. Now the service centers they are very safe for bonkgono gore bonkgono ba dule ko di-service centers ba dule ko teng ba itumele. I mean se ke le ko kerekeng hape re thabela gore social development e re bulele di-centers tsa bonkgono gobane ko bonkgono ba thola di-information bonkgono ba ko di-center ga ba tshwane le bonkgono ba sa tsamayeng di-center gobane ba thola information social worker di ba teng if ba needa social worker re kgona ba kopanya le di-social worker ba kgona gore ba kopane le batho ba Department of Health as gone yaanong bonkgono ba fiwa di-treatment tsa bona ko di-centeng ba nkiwa di-vital signs tsa bona ko di-centeng jaanong ntho ena ka lebaka la COVID ne sa tlhole etsagala now ba tshwanetse gore ba ye tleliniking ba ilo ema di-long queue ko tleliniking so re thabela gore di-center di be teng gore bonkgono ba tle ba tsebe go ka itumela jaanong go socialize maphelong a bona e ba fa healthy lifestyle gore ba tle ba kgona gore ba phele gantle and then the commission this was seen as could have been one of the reasons why there were a number of deaths when the pandemic was at its peak. Although pandemic in the COVID in everything, empa bonkgono ba bangata ba tsamaile because now ba ne ba dula fela ba na le stress ba tsamaisitswe ke malwetsenyana di-chronic diseases tseo ba nang le tsona gobane ba ne ba sa tlhole ba etsa di-exercise ba dutse fela jaanong gape go na le di-centers tse dingwe tse e leng gore ga di na transport bonkgono ba bang ga ba kgone go tla di-centeng because there's no transport ba tsamaya nako e telele gore ba fitlhe ko di-centeng so and ba loser interest gore ba ka ya ko di-centeng and le those ba na le di-transport tsa bona ga di sebetse di-transport di senyegile di dutse ka mo dijareteng because ga di servisiwe there's no maintenance jalo a re kopa gape gore bonkgono ba kgutlele ko di-centeng gore ba tlo tseba go ka ithabisa ba tebe ba tsebe go phela gantle le dikelelo tsa bona di tle di tsebe go ka sebetsa. I thank you all.
Thank you, Honorable J. Modise. I now call upon the Honorable A. Mota.
I greet you all for the challenges. In other areas where centers are available, there is no challenge of uncontrolled access. It means that the centers can be accessed by anyone at any time. And this is very dangerous for the elders because the criminals can take advantage of that to come and steal gym equipment or attack the elders when they are attended their sections. Most of the service centers and launch-on clubs do not have place of their own. They depended on the municipality halls, sports centers, churches. They do not have a land, and this distributes the smooth running of the center. Due to all this, the Department of Social Development do not want to fund such a center. In some distance, elders persons are told that they cannot go to the centers because the center does not have money. For the day effect is quite big because it means all the programs have to stop, like the active aging programs, the commercial. So this is a big challenge. Thanks. Ngiyabonga.
Thank you, Honorable A. Mota. I now call upon the Honorable D. Naidu.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker and House at Large. I'm Devrani Naidu from the Actonville Senior Citizen Club, Equileni. The government should ensure that there is a building available for all community programs in a specific designated area for older persons. If they are unable to build, they should lease vacant premises in that ward to the community so that all programs can run smoothly and in an orderly manner in a specific space allocated to them. The NPO Act should be reviewed regarding board members. They should be there to oversee the programs and management of the place and organize and make efforts to fundraise in order to meet other obligations which are not funded by the DSD. The board members should be clear that they are not going to benefit anything by being there. Their purpose is to bring their expertise to improve the programs and management of the service centers in their communities. Board members need to understand the rules and the obligations to consult with elderly people in a professional and respectful manner. Funding for centers that are registered are inconsistent at the moment. Dates vary from month to month, need to unify for all centers. Government must make sure that all services for elderlies are maintained at all times to ensure the best health, and well-being of our senior citizens in South Africa. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable D. Naidu. I now call upon the Honorable G. Mkhize.
Mhlonishwa nethimba lakho nabo bonke abakhona ngeyitulo zabo ngokwehlukana kwabo. Inkosi yomsinibusise. Umama Grace Mkhize lo obuya ku-Angels eKagiso ku-West-Rand. Sukumela ukubonga government wethu ngakho konke asenzele khona thina abantu abadala. Okokuqala asisize ngakho ukusisheshisela ngomgomo. Wasipha umgomo ngokushesha ukuze sisinde kuloku kufa okuhlasele izwe lethu. Akunandaba ke mina ubaba uMkhize uphelele ezandleni zami ngenxa yalesi sifo. Kepha ngiphakamisa ukumbonga ugovernment wethu ngalokho asenzele khona. Kanjalo nokusilethela ukudla emakhaya ama-food parcels siyambonga government wethu ngalokho. DSD policies must be in line with what is achievable and not just decide on a policy that is jeopardizing the existence of the service center. They do not even assist as a service center by talking to COJ regarding the environment health certificates which they so need, register service centers. Actually, ama-centers wonke afanele ukuthi abe registered. Uma ukhona lapho imember yalo center ufanele ube nesiqiniseko sokuthi i-center okuyo i-registered. We would appreciate if there is at least one organization that is funded in every ward so that older persons can be properly taken care. Ukuthola imali ze-funding in time, nokuthola imali ze-funding ngedate eyodwa. Ukuze ogogo bethu bazokwazi ukuthi batholakale ukusizakala ngalokho okudingwa abadala bethu phakathi kwethu. We also would like to have health facilities in the service centers. Kanjalo sicela ukuthi kube nezinto ezizosisiza kuma centers wethu njengama first aid kit ukuthi ugogo mayixakeka kwazi ukusizeka ngokukhulu kusheshsha. Mhlawumbe iambulance ingakafiki ukuthi izomthatha imisa sibhedlela. We want the government to ensure that across all the luncheon centers in Gauteng province must be uniform and fully participated. Ngempela uma nigqoke i-uniform kuma centers ubonakala kalula ukuthi ungowayiphi i-center. Noma ngabe umuntu angawela estradini efake lesi skipa sine emblem ye center yakhe, uyakwazi ukuthi omunye umuntu abone ukuthi lo mama osehluleka la ungowe center yakuphi, noma lo baba noma lo mkhulu osewa lapha ungowa center yakuphi. Kungathi ke uNkulunkulu angasenza kahle sukela namhla kuze bele suku laphakathi. Amen. Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you, Honorable G. Mkise. I now call for open time and will only allow 4 participants to speak to the debate. Also note that participants who are on the speaking list will not be allowed to speak during open time. Also, do not forget to mention your name and rule number 80.7. Thank you. Anybody would like to speak? It's open time.
Chair and the House at large. There's something that I want to add on to the grant of the people. That we get our pension, but there's so many people that our pension is not enough for us. And I urge that the government please take this to it, that we cannot come out with the money that they are giving out to us. Firstly, we first pay rates and tax, and then we pay our lights. We haven't even got money enough to go and buy some groceries or food for the people. Especially we that has got children that is unemployed. There are mothers that is widows. There's grannies that they're looking after grandchildren. And I think it's high time that the government must actually look into this funding of the older people. And I will appreciate, even for the clubs, every club. I speak on behalf of every club and every senior citizen to rise up and say they want more money because the money is insufficient for us. And I feel that government must really look into this matter of ours. And the second thing is this, every club should be provided with first aid boxes, wheelchairs, and crutches, and walkers, because there's most of the clubs that hasn't got it. Sometimes the people want to go to the clinic, the home-based care can't even push them because some is heavy and they cannot, and there's no wheelchairs for these people. So I would really love that the government to look into this. I know it is much, this thing, they are doing a lot of things, but there is some clubs that is not even funded. And I feel it is not right because our elderly must bring and share to run those clubs, and it's not fair. And I want to urge even the deputy to write down, because I had spoken about the increase of our grants. But I really like that the chairman really put it on the paper to say that the elderly wants their increase. Each and every elderly is entitled to have an increase on their pension, so they can also live a life, a full life, because most of the pension money can't even feed their children. In the middle of the month, they got nothing. How do they cope? How do they feed their families? We must go and borrow money, and then we've got to pay it back when we get our pension. It's not fair for us. That's all. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Honourable Member. Is there anybody else who would like to say something? Yes? Who was first?
I thank you, Mr. Speaker. Nna ke ne ke buella di-center tse kaofela tse. Ke kopela di-center tse kaofela tse. Ba ba senang di-center, government a ba etsetse di-center. Ene ba sa etseng, ba sa kgoneng ho etsa. Rona ko centeng ya rona, ke buella le center ya rona. Center ya rona re na le difofu. Ya ka re na le difofu, ha bana di-sticks. Di-stick tsa go tsamaya. Ke ne ke ba kopela di-stick, ke ba kopela di-wheelchair, ke ba kopela equipment. I thank you.
Thank you, Honourable Member. The gentleman over there.
Thobelang, la ke tla dumedisa parlamente kaofela la ka lentswe le ke batlang go le bua fela ke la gore na ke putsiso le bile tla ba le a ke tsebe maybe tla ba le di-questions ka gare rena re le batswadi re le boima re le bokoko re le boima ka bana ba rona ba tsubang di-drugs ne so re na safety guy kana o tloga mo o ya police station a gona mo ba o beyang teng ne so it means gore maponisa hantle maponisa ba sebetsa le bashimane ba di-drugs and bashimane ba di-drugs ba ke bona ba re tlhokometsang ne bona bana ba rena so nna ne ke re government hanke e zame gore hantle e zame gore na batho ba di-drugs re ka šoma bjang ka bona wa bona re le government kore e le rena bokoko re iša sello sa rena kae go ba bagolo mo rona wa bona kore ke kopo e ne ke kopa ke rene please re a sokola re sokodisa ke mapolisa a fitlha fela hangata ke jojo ba phela kore ke jojo time ala time a ba etse mosebetsi wa bona na bona ba tlo tšhentšhaneng na wa bona kane ke bona bana pa ba re gatelela wa bona ba re gatelela goloholo so ne ke kopa gore government hanke e zame gore e phamiše eng maoto and ke mo maybe sometimes dintho tsa rena di tla loka re le bokoko ne thanks ke a leboga.
Thank you, Honourable Member. We have one more speaker, the lady out there.
Ke a leboga. Rona re mo aganang bagolo ko Semonye. Rona re a sokola. Center ya rona e a neela ene re ka dimile ke masepala poledi ga pula ena ga re kgone go dula re ema ka maoto ga go na le sengwenyana ko holo gobane re mo jarateng ya holo ya masepala ga go na le sengwenyana ba tsa ditulo ra sala re tlhophere re sena le mo re dulang sa bobedi se ke llang ka sona ke lla ka bote ya rona bote ya rona ga e re tshware gantle ga golo e sokodisa manager wa rona bjalo re kgopela gore a government e kene e tlo bona ko Semonye gore ka ba re sokola yang re sokodisa ke board malobanyana mo ne ba tlile ko go nna ko jarateng ka be kore ba tlompotsa gore na le lla ka eng ka re gobane le tla mo jarateng ya ka le tlompotsa gore re lla ka eng le sa re biletse ko senteng ra tla ra bua ditletlebo tsa rona bjalo nna ke a kgopela bagolo ba ka gore a a ko le re thuseng ko semonye bagolo mo a ganang bagolo ko semonye ko gore ke a kgopela gore a ko le re thuseng boto ha re tshware sentle go hang le no ya nang ba re reketse dijo he le ka bona dijo tse ba reketseng tsona ha ke tsebe ke dijo tsa mofuta mang go no go tlile le dikhabitšhe tsa go bola tse di bodileng manager wa rena a bona gore dilo di bodile a di tsaya di latlha a o re nyakela tse dingwe gape no ke a leboga bagolo.
Thank you, Honourable Member. We had 4 speakers on this Commission's report. So we're moving on to the next one now. I'm sorry for those who did not have an opportunity to voice their opinions. Thank you. I now call on Honourable Member G. Reetley. Please reply to the debate and move for the adoption of the Commission's report.
Thank you, Speaker. Now that we've heard the challenges and recommendations, we want the government to ensure that across all elderly luncheon centers in Gauteng province must be uniform and fully capacitated. I, Honorable George Ridley, the chairperson of this commission, hereby move for the commission's report in terms of Rule 117, read with Rule 169, taking into account all contributions made. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, Honourable G. Reetley. I now call for a seconder. No seconder to this adoption. Please stand.
Good morning. Good morning.
Thank you. Is it noted? Eh? It's noted.
I, Honorable Julia, adopt the minutes that are correct.
Thank you, Member. I now put the question. All those in favor say yes. All those not in favor say no. So all those in favor say yes.
Yes, yes.
All those in favor say no. The yes have it. The report is adopted. Thank you. Kindly hand the resolution of the Commission on assessing of the state of service centers and luncheon clubs during COVID-19 pandemic. We don't have to sign it. It's fine. Okay. I now declare the debate on assessing of the service centers and luncheon club during the COVID-19 pandemic closed. We now move on to item 10. Will the Secretary please read the second order?
Good morning, goeiemorgen, dumelang. I'm on the second order. Debate on sports participation and positive development in older persons. An exploration of the programs in place to encourage physical activity, exercise among older persons. I thank you.
I now call on the Honorable Chairperson of this Commission to present their Commission report.
Honorable Speaker, and Honorable Deputy Speaker, and the House at large, and the distinguished guests, Ogitawumkulu Nabogogo. I don't know whether I deliberately didn't mention my name, Honorable Speaker Nyabong. My name is Mandak Tebekulu. As they have already said, our commission is about sports participation and positive development in older persons, and exploration of programs in place to encourage physical activity, exercise among older persons. So, research has proven that there is a serious decline in birth rate of serious note in the fact that this will have huge implications for our future society. Not only will it change labor, okay. Not only will it change labor supply and social dynamics, it also leads to much higher healthcare costs. But there is more than just the aging world population. At the same time, the sports participation of the elderly is fueled by the present and the future trends. Aging is a healthy way. Aging in a healthy way is now the new religion of the elderly, and rightly so. There's so much awareness that movement and sport leads to healthy body in many ways. It is also of great importance to note that the average modern citizen no longer in retirement villages. They prefer uklala emakaya with the security of their own homes, and they still long for social cohesion. The country is also experiencing the generational impact, where initially the elderly sector did not have much interest in sporting activities. Ogomanje group, the group that is moving towards 60s, have a lot of interest in sport. In South Africa, the caring government, sport has become a very important topic and is discussed in almost all gatherings for the elderly. This is to promote the holistic approach to active aging and well-being among the country's senior citizens. The government has encouraged the forums to come up with various forms of sporting codes. This has resulted in the Department of Social Development hosting the annual Senior Golden Games for the elderly, aged between 60 and 100 years. The government sees an opportunity to support national building, a sense of national pride, understanding, tolerance, and respect. Another reason is to deal with discrimination, racism, and human rights abuses. The Commission also took some time to further look at the reasons why physical activities is so important to older persons. And we agreed that physical activity is an essential to healthy aging. As an older person, regular physical activity is one of the most important things you can do for your health. It can prevent many of the health problems that seems to come with age. Problems like weight control, blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, bone and joint problems like arthritis. To help the elderly get those endorphins, that is the feel-good hormones, flowing from a form of physical activities. Let us, as the elderly people, take walk with our young children around the community, and let's encourage the elderly to join or set up an exercise group. Consider opportunities of organized exercise classes like yoga, senior aerobics, other heart pumping and strength building options. Even elderly person with advanced dementia or cognitive impairments can benefit greatly from music-centered activities. Research shows profound positive impacts from music therapy and various forms of musical stimulation. Certain types of music can trigger memories and support feelings of happiness. Perhaps the senior citizen will be interested in attending a live concert, orchestra, or ballet. They might even like to play a well-loved instrument or learn to engage in a new one. For elderly person who likes to dance, consider signing up with ballroom classes or other forms of group dance lessons and gatherings. MEC for iloku social development la ukhulume ngokuthi ke sisayi ilokhuze i-community eda i-value asisi useless, so consider us kumanye ama projects ukuthi si volunteer ukuhamba senze ezinye izinto. We can participate in food drive, fundraising activities, or other service-minded event. Volunteering is a wonderful avenue for helping or to prevent or overcome feelings of uselessness during this stage. Encourage the elderly to use their natural abilities to help someone else in need. It might be as simple as wrapping up gifts. The specific task is not nearly as important as the feeling. Let me read this again. I stress it. The specific task is not nearly as important as the feeling of purpose and satisfaction they derive from the kind of this activity. There is a strong evidence that seniors who partake in physical activities have lower rates of diabetes, hypertension, coronary heart disease, colon cancer, breast cancer, and hypertension. They are also likely to have a healthier body mass, enhanced bone mass, higher levels of functional health, better cognitive function, and decreased risk of falling. Importantly, it also helps your muscles grow stronger so you can keep doing your day-to-day activities without becoming dependent on others. Langibuya khona ke inkomo awihlabi uyihlinze ngomese oyihlabe ngawo. Ngivumele ke Honorable Speaker ukuthi nginikeze ozakwethu ukuthi bayihlinze.
Thank you, Honorable M. Sebukulu. Forgive me for not mentioning your name. We now have speakers from your commission. The Honorable D. Lenong.
Honorable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, members of Parliament who are present, and GPL members present here, and all the elderly people who are here, as well as the young people that I saw here. I greet you all. My name is Honorable Dimagazolino, representing the Sports Commission. Chapter 2 of Act 13 of 2006 states that older persons have a right to access opportunities that promote their optimal level of social, physical, mental, and emotional being. The question is, what are the barriers to participation in physical activity among the elderly? We identified the following: lack of facilities, and where there is a facility, there is no equipment. Where equipment is provided, maintenance is not done. Even repairing the damaged equipment takes forever. Some service centers have gym machines like treadmill. Due to lack of training elders as to how to operate the machines, they endanger themselves by pressing high speed that causes them to fall. Education on the benefits of physical activities and sports is not addressed. Therefore, the elders see no reason to participate in such. Ill health is another barrier because those who don't have service centers close by, they have to walk long distances to access available centers. In other service centers, beneficiaries are not given an opportunity to choose physical activity or sports they like. Discrimination is sometimes practiced, whereby comments like this are said to them: "You are too fat to be a soccer team member." This affects the individual's self-esteem. Most service centers are not user-friendly to older persons who are disabled. Physical activities and sports that cater for them are not enough. Now, there are those of them, or those of us, who make excuses like they cannot participate because of other commitments, like looking after grandchildren. Some tell you that they are working. Little older persons are on pension. But really, Shebang Hure, how many older persons are still in Parliament and working? We hope the recommendations that will be for
have gone to work. And hopelessness, babang, it's laziness. Sometimes it's culture for a woman. How you are senteng utlatola hore. Habatlo yetsa di gym tsa bona tshwanetse nganule wetseng. And going back to the olden days, mutu wamsadi no tshwanetse abe well behaved. So those are the barriers of participation, babang. The lack of knowledge. So, Nakiri, why should I go to the club? I can walk on my own kitwe, go charting, go fiela. I'm still doing exercise. Kilo clean a garage, get exercise. I'm sitting with my grandchildren. The program, the physical exercise small zone. Why? And then now I can do this Jerusalem challenge. Comfortable. Why should kita more? So, I can mimic sports, go TV, kidishebe. I can go. Going to the club is just waste of time for now. And to prepare, to do la mo hore ki bone hore ki loser nako hore ke senteng. So I'd rather sit with my grandchildren. So, ha ke nahana, in conclusion, dintho tse, the government should follow up Hariko dissenting. I belong to the center. I think the government should make follow-ups to ensure that we have health inspectors and really male caregivers. I've seen less of health caregivers. And then they should be pest controlled. Sometimes we tola go na le magotlo a matha around mo rona re ntse re dutse mo. So I'm addressing this thing, got the issues tsa hore ki dula ko ntlong ke le elderly ki bona nkare go betere. And then I recommend hore workshops di a batlega, and ki recommend the police sectors managers for safekeeping and social workers le tsona, le di psychologists, le di physiotherapists, di itle di senteng tsa rona, le di spiritual batho ba buang gore ba tle di senteng tsa rona ba ro fa dintwi la izwi lenkosi gore re zame gore re phuthuloge gobane some of us ba ile di kerekeng. So ke yona recommendation e ke di beyang. I thank you all.
Thank you, Honorable Shibidi. I now call upon the Honorable Moslaboli.
The Honorable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, members of the legislature and Department of Social Development, colleagues, and all distinguished guests, I greet you all. Allow me first to give a heartful appreciation for this momentous occasion. It shows that senior citizens are still considered part of developments of a democratic state, and that government is serious about addressing the needs of the older persons in our country. We commend the Department of Social Development for its facilitating role. Let me not digress. Mine is to give report on what can motivate the elderly to be involved in physical activity. The following are some of the tips to help encourage elderly to get involved in a more physical, active, and challenging lifestyle. Encourage them to set goals, eliminate barriers, be creative, and reach out to groups. Secondly, in which areas do elderly feel comfortable engaging in sporting activities? In old age homes, service centers, and luncheon clubs. Local parks with sporting activities, safe pavements, and sidewalks. Unutilized open spaces in the community and within their own residential areas. Honorable Speaker, with the foresight, I urge older persons to participate in sporting activities such as Golden Games, initiative led by the Department of Social Development. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable S. Moslaboli. I now call upon Honorable R. Chiole.
Honorable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, members of Gauteng Provincial Legislature, Department of Social Development, members of Parliament, I greet you all. Never did I imagine that at my age, I will stand in front of a parliamentary body and speak about matters that concern me and my fellow sisters and brothers. Challenges about physical activities by older persons. Most of the centers do not have equipment for training. Most centers, luncheon clubs are always manned by volunteers with very little knowledge of do's and don'ts. Unfunded centers have very more poor attendance, as elderly people need meals now and again. Challenges about sporting activities. Service centers and luncheon clubs do not have trained people to serve as coaches and trainers. Local parks do not have training equipment. Shacks are built on pavement sidewalks. Open space have been turned into illegal dumping areas. I thank you all.
Thank you, Honorable R. Chiole. I now call for open time and will only allow four participants to speak on the debate. Also note that the participants who are on the speaking list will not be allowed to speak during open time. Also, do not forget to mention your name and rule number 80.7. Thank you. I call for anybody on the floor to speak. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and Deputy Speaker, and the House at large. Actually, this is directed at all the government officials who are present with us now. We want to be assured that our grievances will really be addressed by government. And if so, how long will we wait to be given the feedback? I thank you.
Thank you. Another speaker from the floor, please.
Sanbonan, Usana Nsibande, wase Davidton, Nguvela eThwathwa, ku-lunch club yaseThwathwa. Thina la sikhona asinazo into zokujima. Sisendaweni lapho kusho ukuthi sifana nabantu abaqashile, sise clinic. And indawo esingenela kuyo iyanethela iyawa, so abogogo bayafisa ukujima kakhulu. Siyayisiphume sijimelela ngaphandle, kwesinye isikhathi basisuse la kule clinic size siye esigangeni sojimela khona. So kunzima kakhulu kithi eThwathwa ukuthi kwangathi singathola usizo, ugovernment angenelele azobheka indawo esikuyo eThwathwa. Si launch club eregisterilwe but asinandawo la singenela khona. So siyacela kakhulu ukuthi angenelele eze azobona isibo esingaphansi kwaso, singajabula kakhulu. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dumedisa ba botlhe ba tseneng ka hare go ntlo. Ke tlo bolela Setswana gore ke ikutlwa gore ka re ke tlhako Tshwane, mme ke tlhako islandeng e ba e bitsang Harankuwa. Utlwa ho bolelwa dilo tse di pila mo tsa sports. Re na le bokoko, re na le foramo ya mekgatlho le 7. Bokoko ba ba very active,
ba ba fitlhang le ko national ha rena mo re jimelang teng ba jimela fela mo lebaleng ko tshwantseng ba ye ko teng ko groundong sele ba ground ela ya Bophuthatswana go tlohile tshetlo e nngwe ha re tlhokomelwe re mo islandeng e le hona re leng ko moshimeng re sa bonahaleng re a kgopela re thuseng diforamu tse mekgatlho e ke e bolelang e ha ena mo e tsennang teng re tsenna fela mo lebaleng mara dikolo di tletse ebile di a ventilaisiwa ha ra nna fela re tsamaya di-office tsela tsa Tshwane tsela re tsentshiwa ka mo le ka mo re le bokoko ebile re ntse fela but we are active ka gore ke dilo tse re di nyakang ke dilo tse re di batlang ke dilo tse re di ratang ka mo pay point ceiling e wele re na le di-social worker mara a shenke ba re sele ha ke bolele ka dilo tsa maabane or 5 years back ke bolela ka dilo tsa 10 years back ha hona le motho wa puso wa tlang ko rona re latlhehile go rankua ke ka mokgwa re e bitsang island lona e ko moshimeng e sa bonweng ke motho bana ba rena ditlogolo tsa rena mo di-officing ba tshameka ka gona nna re morile ke maburu re tsentsha bona dikolo ka tseno ga ba ritse re sele re bana le lisi ya go lema bokoko ba lema ba bangwe re khopetse lisi masepala re fa lisi ka 2006 ka tseno he re renewa re tsentshiwa mo re ntshiwa ka mo le ka tseno a share bane le lisi mara re tsweletse pele ba haetso re a lema ka gore ke dilo tse re di tlwaetseng ke dilo tse re di ratang re puso nke le tlong go etela rankua le tshabang a sentse re le ko Bophuthatswana he re le ko teng re botsang gore re reporteng kae ka gore ka mo Gauteng ha ona ko reportang teng re latlhehile re le bokoko ba rankua ka re ba ira di-games dilo tso tsotlhe ba fitlha ko nation he ba nyaka gore ba e national ba tla rankua mara tla le boneng grown fela e ba tshamkelang mo yona re sotlehile rona ko rankua ha re itse re ya ko mang re man re reng and ha ra nna fela go gore nka le mentiona maina a bana ba ba re tsenang ka mo Tshwane ka mo ola a re ya ko ola a re ya ko o mongwe a re ya Ratsali o mongwe a re e ya kae ko di-office ra di itsitse mara ha gona thuso e re e kry-ang batho etelang rankua tšatši le leng re na le holo ko zone 1 gona bjanong go a berekiwa ko teng ga gona re ka ya koo re na le diholo di le 4
Honorary
mara
member,
nka le botsa
honorary member, order.
Ke ngibuya ePhimdweni eSoweto. Okwami endiza kubhekisa kuncane kodwa kukhulu ngoba kufuna ukulungiswa. Sineziganga lapha eSoweto. Kwindawo isection ekuthiwa kusezone 14. Abathandayo bathi 14 kodwa izone 9. Abantu abadala phayana abanaholo so iholo ekhona ikude for abantu abadala so ingathi ingasondezwe abantwini abadala abapha kulaa ndawo sihlutshwa nazo izibhampa ebusuku kwithuba ke labantwana bethu abazizukulu akulalwa kulaa ndawo
So besicela ugovernment asondeze kuloo ndawo leyo. Izitrato njengoba kusehlobo kusesama manje andithintwa namhlanje ngithinto eminyaka amanzi angena ezindlini sukungazi ukuthi kwasavewa or kwathiwa ngabantu ababuya emikhukwini bafanele babekelwe nje izindlu noma kanjani. So izona nto sikhala ngazo phana. Ngiyabonga.
Thank you. We've had 4 speakers. I now call upon the Honourable Member M. Sebakulu. Please report.
Honorable Speaker, let me thank you again. We've had even additional issues when people were putting their views across. And the key thing that informs our recommendation, first and foremost, let me say, we appreciate the work done by the Department of Social Development in collaboration or in partnership with South African Elder People's Forum in coming up with an active aging program for us to participate in various cultural sporting activities and to improve the quality of life and to promote independence. But there are issues, like in any situation, there's always room for improvement. So our recommendation, we recommend that the government should provide adequate facilities, AMA Service Center, and do proper consultation when they put those, because we have different challenges in different areas. Like rural, urban, and informal settlement. And there was this collier distance, kuti abantu abadala bathatha distance ukuyalena. We recommend ukuthi mhlambe sibheke indaba yokuthi sicluster ama-ward akulokhuze distance elicishe ilingane. And then sibuild ilokhuze one center lapho, so that older people should not travel a long distance, say about 30 or to 50 k's ukuya kulokhuze ku center. The second one is allocation of equipment, that is the training equipment to the service centers, and provide training on how to use such and maintenance as well. Because we had in some other areas, an old lady just went into Iloku's treadmill and pressed the buttons. She nearly got her remaining teeth out because she fell on top of it. She didn't know how to use it, and there was nobody available to show them how to use it. Okay. The other one is to ensure safety for elders on the parks and sidewalks, because there are some equipments that are built there on the parks, and for walking, some elders who walk on these pavements that have been done by Ilokuze, our government, beautiful pavements. But you find that on these parks, when you want to train during the day, there are youngsters sitting there smoking, whatever they are smoking. And for some of us elders are afraid to tell them to move away so that you can train. So it impacts on our people not having a chance to train. And on the sidewalks, these youngsters also build Ilokuze amakawash on the pavements. So when we walk, we find that you can't walk on the pavement. Now we have to compete with the cars on the road. So if we can have Ilokuze Department of Safety, especially EMPD, to deal with those people abenza those blockages lapho those areas. And then ogunye That is fourth. Whilst we attend these programs, but it's only a minute percentage of us who knows and attend these projects. So we are recommending together with the Lanchons, Elder Persons Forum, the Department of Social Development, so organize the AMA road shows and go towards, and after repackaging these programs, because in some areas, let's be honest, these things are government structures, government programs. But nasfika amanye amalokishi, it becomes into zama organization artists. So it makes other people not to feel comfortable to go and participate in those. So let's repackage this thing and go and do road shows and inform abantu, awareness of the existence of these programs, any benefits of participation in these physical activities and or sport. Those are our recommendations. I move that the chair moves for adoption. We move for adoption.
Thank you, Honorable M. Sebukulu. I now call for a seconder.
I rise to second.
Thank you. I now put the question. All those in favor, say yes. All those in favor, say no. The yes have it. The report is adopted. Kindly hand the resolution of the Commission on Sport Participation and Positive Developments on Older Persons. An exploration of the programs in place to encourage physical activity exercise amongst older persons. Thank you, sir. I now declare the debate on sport participation and positive developments on older persons, an exploration of the programs in place to encourage the physical activity exercise among older persons, closed. I now hand over my chair to the Deputy Speaker. Thank you.
Get seated, Honorable Deputy Speaker. Thank you.
Will the Secretary please read the third order?
Thank you, Mr. Deputy. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and the House at large. Isitenge asifani nesibhanqa. Duta nonkala uxa uyatshata. Amaxaba axabisile. Abantu bayibona into abayifunayo. Zebengamba umbango womuntu umnye. Sikwemusha amatimba rokukombela amatimba loko washumisa sestele. Dithemba umjuluko womuntu mayimana usula uthi Thixo zube nathi, Thixo Abraham, Thixo James, Thixo bonke abantu abakhona emhlabeni. Kodwa umsebenzi ungaqhubekeli phambili. There is one more thing that depends and that is needed rightfully and being demanded by any human being under this category of life. There is a debate of safety and security for older persons. An assessment of the safety programs in the dealing with risks associated with the collection of social grants. Amen.
I will now call on Honorable I. Mamatela, the chairperson of the Commission, to present his report.
Deputy Speaker, the Speaker, honorable members of this Parliament, DSD-MEC, all protocol observed. Allow me to greet you all. It is with a great pleasure to engage at this platform. However, on the downfall, I wish to hasten to state in Tiroko that we are hosting this sector parliament in this week, wherein the country and our province, Gauteng, had to accept that safety and security of older persons of life in general is under a big threat. South African government, with an aim of making sure that the welfare of the elderly citizens is well taken care of. The department had a constitutional obligation to provide income support to those who do not have sufficient social security provision for older age. The provision of social grant is guided by the Constitution, national legislation and regulations. The government, after conducting several studies, concluded that grants, especially elderly grants, are one of the big and effective ways of fighting the battle with poverty. Often, however, the grant is used to meet the needs of the whole family. This is due to the high rate of unemployment. With this background, South Africa decided to extend the grant system to the elderly, which has come with many benefits, especially with the current setup in many families where you find that family members are depending on the grant that is received by. The grants for the elderly are assessed for a monthly basis at different waypoints in the province. This initiative was introduced to make sure that there is easy access to the grant money. It is evident, however, that with good will, there will always be opportunity for abuse. The scourge of kidnapping, domestic violence, just to name a few, is on the rise and seemingly running amok, and this we see every day in our TV screens, and it affects the well-being of the older persons direct, as it is now even in our places of residence, on our way to collect our grants, in our daily activities, and we are no longer free, safe to say the least. We wish to call on the government to take a close look, make decisions, and attend to these ills, and ensure that it improves our lives as well as as the societies that we live in. Currently, the elderly are facing many challenges when they go to access their grant. This is evident even in their own residence, where one finds that the people she lives with pose loss of safety challenge, not to mention, but happens as they find their way to the different pay points, banks, post office, and retail shop. I thank you, ma'am.
We now call on Honorable A. Makuana.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker, members of Parliament, members of the DSD, and thank you, the young ones who've been taking care of us from the 9th of this month. I thank you, kids. My name is Agnes Mogwana. I'm from Mohali City in Kagiso. Firstly, one must appreciate that the government has made a big improvement in making sure that the elderly people are able to get their money. We were happy that the government decided to divide the dates of receiving the grants for older persons and children. But what we found is the following. There seems to be a problem with allocation of days for getting grants for the elderly, because now even the youth has to get their grants at the same time. That's causing confusion, which might lead to the elderly losing their money, or maybe the queues being too long. Stores become full on payday. We do not enjoy shopping, as the queues tend to be very long, and old people spend almost the whole day trying to buy what they need. Another challenge that they face when they get to the shops is the fact that the dedicated tills are not monitored, such that tellers tend to be too slow, and usually they do not open all the available tills, even if they see that there is a queue. More to that, the Commission noted that most supermarkets that have been identified as pay points do not want to give pensioners the full pension grant when they go to cash out. Instead, they would want us to buy something in the store first, and this is not what we want. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Makwana. We now call on Honorable S. Diseko.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And thank you, Deputy Speaker. And thank you so much for what you have mentioned when you said we are mediators. Yes, bonkgono, we are mediators. Thank you for that. Re a lwana mo malapeng go tshwara malapa go feta bana ba rona. And thank you for that. Swana sare, mme o tshwara thipa ka fa bogaleng. So re tsere mmereko wa bo mme ba bana ba rona re leng bonkgono ke rona ba tshwara and ra leboga. So let me go on, otherwise thank you. The South African government, with an aim of making sure that the welfare of the elderly citizens is well taken care of, the department had constitutionally obligation to provide income support to those who do not have sufficient social security provision for the old age. The provision of social grant is guided by the Constitution, national legacy, and regulation. The government, after conducting several studies, concluding that grants, especially elderly grants, are one of the best and effective ways of fighting the battle with poverty over. However, the grant is used to meet the needs of the whole family. This is due to the high rate of unemployment. With this background, South Africa decided to extend the current set up in many families where you find that family members are depending on the grants that is receiving by the grants for the elderly. On a monthly basis, at different pay points in the province, this initiative was introduced to make sure that there is easy access to the grant money. Yo marikwa sokolo le ga ile go di easy access ha ke bone because o kra re sokola yang ha re tshwantse re lo gola di chelete tsena le ema queue etelle from the queue etelle eo sometimes go di pay points in ha le sampele re le show gore you'll get your money, they'll tell you that chelete e fedile ha chelete e sa fela ba le bolella gore metšhini ga e sa tlhole e kgona go lekalentsetsa tšhelete ke gantsi go yalo. So so the elderly, she or he lives with posed lot of safety challenges, not to mention what happens as they find their way to the different pay points, banks, post offices, and retail shops. The commission discussed a number of such barriers in detail. As the pay points, okay. I understand that sometimes really bonkono. Ha re fitla ko di bank. Re bona nkare di banks they are ga di re berekele. But sometimes I think the bank di are berekela because you get into a mall. How fitla ka fo gare ga mall? O ya fale o kra motho yana the problem is one o kra le gore re kra ditsotsi ba iketsa ba pere uniform ba iketsa nkare o bereka fo o sa tlhaloganye gore uniform o e kreile yang gore a khone gore a re o tlo go thusa. So gona le bonkgono ba ba sa khoneng gore ba kai presetsa and sometimes a lebetse gape.
Thank you, Honorable Diseko.
Thank you.
We now call on Honorable A. Mokele.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Speaker, members of the Parliament, Protocol observed and the House at large, allow me to greet you. My name is Alina Mokele from Zone 9 Pimville, Region D. As senior citizens, we really appreciate the recognition of the Police Act on elderly people. The Act of the Older Persons Act number 13 of 2006 that deals with the human rights of the senior citizen. When an aged person qualifies for need of care and protection, and how the elderly treated in South Africa. Act number 13 of 2006 is the Older Persons Act that intends to protect, promote, and maintain the status quo rights, the rights, the well-being, and the security of older persons. It is an act that aims to combat the abuse of older people. Department of Safety and Security, MEC, yes, we are aware there's what we call CPF within our communities. But unfortunately, abogogo ngeke bapatroli itrata. Kanye nabomkhulu. Ngeke sigijime nalabantwana. But there's one thing I can tell you, MEC, is that if your department works very close with the elderly people, I khona siyimpi shame. Ungayithola information iphelele. I mean, we are like children. We quickly forget, we forgive, we don't have grudges, we don't even revenge for ourselves. Angeke uzokuthiwa kunetoyitoyi eqalwe abogogo. Always itoyitoyi iqalwa youth, abogogo bayalandela because they are always faithful and innocent. They are very supportive. Now I'm hereby request Uguti department must make us feel special as elderly people. We want to feel trusted and needed. We want to know processes and procedures. Zama charge office. Because if you understand them, we will accept them and implement them. Please capacitate us. Ngama bylaws, policies, don't keep them to your offices. Then at the later stage, you use them as spears to break our hearts being elderly people. Leskalebala. Information is power. So don't give us information in bits and pieces. I know we are nagging, especially if we don't get what we want. And only then do we get relevant information. Typical example, elderly people in Kliptown from 2012 to date, they are still getting it very hard since their property were impounded by government officials illegally. Some of them have passed on because of depression, in stress. Some of them are disillusioned. But only 3 of them are still running the race. They are still kicking the doors of the government. As one of the colleagues has indicated, and the other lady from Harangua indicated, you can know all these offices. But the thing is the relevant information. Good people, involve us in your strategic planning. We will pledge with you safety and security to combat crime.
Thank you, Honorable Mokele. We now call on Honorable Kay Mokoena.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, and the House at large. My name is Honorable Kidiboni Mokoena, and we recommend the following. Security officers should monitor the grants pay points to remove the usually loitering youth, as in most cases, they are the ones robbing the elderly. Police and community policing forum members should be visible at the pay points, wearing full uniform and reflector jackets, bearing their full names and their sector. A good working relationship must be in place with supermarkets to avoid the following: forcing the elderly to buy before they receive their money, making sure that the elderly do not stand in the queues for too long, also increase tills if possible. Most pensioners would like their money to be paid straight into their banking accounts, but they are discouraged by the bank charges. We suggest that SASSA negotiate with banks for no charges for the senior citizens. A dedicated queue for pensioners at the banks on pay days will reduce the risk of being pickpocketed by the thieves. SASSA or Department of Social Development must have a working relationship with taxi associations to ensure that the safety of pensioners on pay days. The fly-by-night taxis pose as normal taxis, only to rob the elders later on. This one is actually not easy. Ngingabuye mhlambe ngichaze ngesizulu ngithi lena ayikho lula kodwa ingenzeka. For the safety of pensioners living alone, the Department of Social Development can have a database for them. They can conduct random visits or arrange with subs to check on them. Living alone increases the risk of being robbed or even killed. We also suggest the panic buttons for when they are in danger. That's why I say this one is difficult, but it can be done. Lastly, we all know that coronavirus gave birth to lockdowns and social distancing, but social distancing should not be social isolation. So we thank the legislature for not isolating us. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Mokoena. We now call on open time and will only allow 4 participants to speak to the debate. Will not be allowed to speak during open time. Also, do not forget to mention your name and Rule 80.7. Thank you.
My name is Honorable Julia from Tshwane. Ke kopa gore government e bolele le SASSA, Minister wa SASSA, gore ba change date ya bagodi ba batsofe, because bagodi ba tshwaetse gore ba gole ka di 1 di 2 bjane he re gola ka di 5 6 e be le gore ga re na selo re lapile re thoma ra adima gape tšhelete mara he ntse ba re godisa ka nako ele ya rona ya pele ya di 1 2 re kgona go survive. And then e nngwe ke ya ko post officing gore ba re accommodate ka di mobile toilets. Di post office o kry-e bokoko ba sokola re nwa dipilisi ha tshwanetse o yo gola kwale o batlo ya toilete ha gona toilet re kopa di mobile toilets. And then le mo di shop rights ne re kopa gore DSD e na le di-leadera tsa di-clubs ba yo boledisana le management wa ko Shoprite gore ka tsatsi la mogolo ba ire di-pay points tsa rona maybe ba di oketse ene ba bone gore di-tellers tsa bona di kgona gore accommodata ka tšhelete re shota tšhelete ba re botsa re tšhelete ga e teng ene tšhelete e gore a e needa ke tšhelete ya rona. I thank you.
Honorable Chairperson, all protocol observed. Lebitso la ka ke nna Gladys Sangweni from Golden Oldies Koraberetši. Ke tlo bua ka taba, ke tlo akaretsa dintho kaofela tseo o buileng ka tsona. Nkgono ha a phela gore a be healthy go tshwanetse metsi e be part ya bophelo ba hae. But ha o re wa sheba ke utlwile e mong wa dibui, if I'm not mistaken, from SD, a bua ka taba ya hore rona bonkgono re eda value. But ka tshebo ya ka ntho e leng hore ya eketseha in daily basis ke sekoloto sa metsi. Ha ayo motho o kolotang metsi jwalo ka nkgono, ha ayo motho o kolotang metsi jwalo ka ntatemoholo. We need water as re bapala sports re le batho ba baholo. We need water as we cook because re dutse ko hae. We need water ka ho tlhapa matsoho re tswa re kena ka mo malapeng a rona. But ha o re wa sheba sekoloto sa elderly se lekana le dilemo tsa hae. If you are 65 years old, sekoloto sa hao se re 650,000. And then how hola 1.860 o patala jwang 6,050 ya metsi. Hona le ntho e bitswang ESP. So far nna a ke bone mosebetsi wa ESP. Ke lebitso fela le hengang. Re kopa ba re tshwereng le go government le ba jwetse hore ke khale re phela re kopa re phumulelwe metsi. Ke a leboha.
Thank you, Honorable.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. My name is Angeline Bates, heading from Ikuruleni, Brakpan. I've got a big problem with SASSA. I'm challenging the government because my president, Cyril Ramaphosa, said, Tuma Mina. Now today, it's my day to send the government to SASSA. The elderly, we've got two cards. The one is net one, it's green, and the one is the original SASSA. I'm speaking on behalf of the original SASSA card. When you go and get your pay, the 1 month you'll get 1,800. Where is the 90 rand? When you follow up, going to SASSA officers, they will post you to the post office. Get to the post office, they will post you to the police station. When you get to the police station, the police will ask you, Gogo, who are you reporting? Because we need a name. And it's so embarrassing. You come in a pay point and you get the elderly standing in a queue, not getting their pay. How hurt you feel seeing a granny saying, oh my Lord, what is my children gonna have tonight? So please, I'm pleading to the government. They said, Tuma Mina. We are sending them as the elderly. We elderly are the poor of the poorest because we cannot live with the 1,890. There is a couple living next to me. He didn't receive his pension last month. He didn't, totally nothing. What is that pensioner feeding his children? A zero. Come on, the government, Tuma Mina. There we are sending you today to complete
Thank you,
with
Honorable.
SASSA. Thank you.
Honorable I, Mamatela, please reply to the debate and move for adoption of the Commission report.
Deputy Speaker, it is my great pleasure. I wish to appreciate this glorious opportunity. I wish to also thank the officials from both Gauteng Legislature Social Development who have assisted us. Thank you for the sterling work done to this far. I, Honorable Isaac Mamatela, the chairperson of this commission, hereby move for the commission, the report to be adopted in terms of the Rule 117 with Rule 164, taking into account all contributions made. Thank you, Honorable Deputy Speaker.
I now call for a seconder.
I, Alina Mokele, hereby move for the adoption of the report. I thank you.
I now put the question. All those in favor of yes, say yes. All those in favor of no, say no. The yes have it. The report is adopted. Kindly hand the resolution of the Commission on debate on safety and security for elder persons, an assessment of the safety program in dealing with risk associated with the collection of social grant. I now declare the debate on safety and security for older persons, an assessment of the safety programs in dealing with risk association with the collection of social grant closed. Chairperson of Johannesburg Older Persons Forum, Mrs. Kibegani Mafube. Sorry.
It isn't in the morning.
Good afternoon, everyone. Like they've already said, my name is Kidi Mufube, representing Johannesburg Older Persons Forum and Gauteng Older Persons Forum. All protocol observed. I am not here to praise the fish on how it is swimming. I am here to put all the challenges that the older persons are experiencing. The first one, I want to say, the responsibility of taking care of older persons is not only supposed to be the Department of Social Development, but we are asking all the government departments to be able to assist with the budget to ensure that the dignity of older persons is adhered to. Secondly, I want to say, running of the service centers and luncheon clubs, it's a very good thing to do that, but we have a lot of challenges. Firstly, you find that we don't have space. People want to join the older persons clubs, but we don't have the places where we operate from. Those who are operating from the municipality halls or the sports centers, they are really having a hard time, because their time may come, a time where you will be told while you are there that the hall is booked for that day. So meaning that all the older persons that have come to do their active aging program, they must go back home. So it is a problem. We are recommending that the government must ensure that each and every ward has a multi-purpose hall, so that we know that we are safeguarded, that older persons will have a place where to operate. The other thing that we are having a problem with, it's late payments. I think all the people who are funded by social development, we are always crying. We've got what we are even used to saying it's a dry season. But why should we be accepting that there should be something like a dry season? We want to know if it's the treasury that is not respecting us, or it is the officials, the staff members who are working in the Department of Social Development. And if they find that they find that it is the department, then we really want to see consequence management taking place. South Africa, we've got a problem of not following up things. There is no consequence management. People steal and nothing happens to them. So now, DSD is also not giving us money on time and nothing is happening, but we are suffering. The impact of late payments, the older persons, their program is disturbed. They can't go to their centers because there is no money to do the cooking. There is no money to ensure that the active aging program continues. The other thing that we are not happy with is the policy that is coming from social development, where we are supposed to register as as the service providers for older persons. They are looking for something that we don't have, the environmental health certificate. You go to a city of Joburg and ask for the environmental health certificate. They say they don't issue that. We have been fighting, I don't know for how many years, we don't get it. And now we heard that with effect from 2022, social development is not going to fund any organization which does not have that environmental health certificate. Where are we supposed to get it? So we are asking the officials, we are asking the government to talk to each other, because you cannot look for something that is not obtainable. The other thing that we are not happy with, compliance issues. Yes, older persons, they open the organizations because of the passion. But somebody, after it has been registered, we are asking for Department of Social Development to ensure that those poor people are educated. They must be workshopped on the compliance. They must not hear at the last minute that you don't get your grant, you don't get your funding because you are not complying. That is not fair. That is not fair. The other thing that we want to talk about is the gym equipment. You know, exercises, they make us feel, active. You want to do physical exercises, but you don't have equipment in your centers. So we are pleading with the sports, arts, I don't know, we call it SACR. It's sports, arts, and recreation to ensure that all older persons service centers are provided with sports equipment. We are pleading with them. That is why we said it's not only about social development. All the government departments must just put their hands together and ensure that we get what is supposed to be to make us happy as older persons. The other thing that we are talking about, security and safety. Normally we ask ourselves, where is SAPS? Where is JMPD? When we are going to the pay points, you find that we are vulnerable because the thugs, they can see that there is no one to take care of us. So we are pleading during the pay days. We want to see the JMPD, the SAP, must be visible so that the people can see that at least we are secured. Lastly but not least, the grant increments. If the government gives you 10 rand as an increment on your grant, I don't know what do they expect you to do. They know that since the HIV pandemic, we have tended to be the breadwinners. We are looking after our children, we are looking after our grandchildren with the little money that we are getting. So if you give a pensioner more money, then everybody in the house will be looked after. So we are pleading with all those that are supposed to motivate that we get a better increment to do so with immediate effect. Thank you.
I would like to take this opportunity to thank all the honorable members for their contribution in the various debates. I would further like to take this opportunity to welcome the chairperson of community to the Gauteng legislature, Honorable Refilwe Kikane, to comment to the debate and receive the resolution.
Thank you very much, Madam Deputy Speaker of the House and honorable members. I think we had very fruitful discussions. The debates were very hot and informative. And I was sitting with my colleagues there. We've been sharing notes as and when we listened the debates as they ensued. And I must say that we are humbled by your presence and the quality of the debates that took place in the House. And I, as the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee, on behalf of the members of the Portfolio Committee for Social Development, I am going to receive all the resolutions that have been put forward. I will table the resolutions in our portfolio meeting, where the committee will have a look at the resolutions, and thereafter we will then table the resolutions to the department for actioning. Honorable MEC Morakani Musupie is here. She will be there in that meeting when we table those resolutions with the heads of department and all the officials responsible in the department. So I'm sure those will be taken care of. And then when we table those resolutions to the department, I would like us to invite some of you to be part of that meeting. I would really appreciate if you would be part of that meeting. And subsequent to that, we will then table the resolutions in the House. And also, we would like to extend the invitation ourselves so that you come to the gallery. I hope by that time we'll be meeting physically so that you can be collected from all your various regions and you can be part of the proceedings in the House so that you can witness the situation in the House when we table your resolutions. So we really appreciate your efforts. And I was caucusing with Memoragane on your closing remarks as you made your inputs around the SASSA grants, you know, and I was sharing with her, I said to her, in the case of where you have lost someone due to HIV and AIDS, I know it's a general thing, but people must also know that they must look at the option of applying for foster care grants, because you would know there are various types of grants. If you do have a case, you can apply for an extra grant, foster care. And I would also like to, on behalf of the committee and through you, MEC, request the officials from your office as well as SIPO from my office to make contact with the 3 ladies who spoke about their shelters, they are leaking. The one from Etwatwa, the mama from Simunye. Just clarify to them Simunye, which part of Simunye, because there are many Simunyes. I know Simunye, go Carltonville, so you might be referring to Simunye somewhere else. As well as mama from Harangua. Let's also get the details from yourself so that because ko Harangua there are also other luncheon centers. Why are you not placed between the 2 of those that are existent in Harangua? So those things can be done immediately. They don't even have to wait for a meeting. So immediately after this, let them take your details so that as the department and the portfolio committee, we can make follow-ups. We can send the teams to your various locations to indeed see what is happening there. So I'm here to receive the resolutions, and I declare that the resolutions will be processed accordingly, according to the normal procedures of the Gauteng Provincial Legislature. And then once they've been processed, we'll call you again for a feedback session. We will sit again like this in a meeting and give you the responses and the progress that the department would have made by that time. And I'm sure the MEC is here. Some of the things she will already instruct the department to start working on them. I'm not saying everything will be done, but I'm sure she will start to do some work. Record is December because we will be closing REA on recess, but I've got confidence for it. Come January, we will have progress in some of the issues that you have raised. Thank you very much, Deputy Speaker. And the Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Pipila Kakane.
Send to you properly.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I would like to further take this opportunity to welcome the chairperson of committee of the Gauteng Legislature, Honorable Sizakele Nkosi Malobane, to deliver the closing remark.
Sanbonan, thank you very much, Speaker. My name is Sizakele Nkosi Malobane, the Chair of Chairs, or the Chair of Committee, Chair of Chairs of the Gauteng Legislature. Mangbonge ithuba engiphiwe lona. But before I thank everyone, let me acknowledge the presence and the contribution made by the Deputy Speaker of Gauteng Legislature. Thank Umamu Nomvuyo Mhlakaza Manamela. Thank the Deputy Chairperson of Committees who's responsible for these meetings, Ubabu Mpapa Kanyane. I think the ever available MEC for Social Development, Honorable Murakane, you are thanked, but also you are recognized and actually acknowledged, Guti, you are always available for not only the older citizens, you are also available for other vulnerable groups. Thank you very much, ma'am, and if just keep it up, please be available for them as you always do. And let me also thank our Chairperson for Social Development who just accepted the notes, the resolutions. Umamu Refilwe Kekane. Thank our Chief Whip Umam Togo Makukula is here. I don't see other MPLs. I know that the Deputy Speaker is here and everyone that I've just mentioned. Thank you very much. I think I need to also thank you, the members of the House. Thank you very much, MPLs, older MPLs of the Gauteng legislature. I'd also like to thank some friends and colleagues who are present in this meeting. Ngiyabonga kakhulu that I'm being given this opportunity to extend a vote of thanks on this historic occasion of the senior citizens sector parliament after a very long COVID holiday. The very presence of the Deputy Speaker, Umamu Mhlakaza Manamela, despite her busy schedule, reflects the importance that you attach to this achievement of the senior citizen sector parliament. We are indeed inspired, ma'am, by your guidance and vision and passion on senior citizens and veterans issues, but I think you are also very passionate with other issues, particularly young women. I'm grateful to the presiding officers of GPL and the management team for steering the oversight role of Gauteng Provincial Legislature in the correct path of meticulous and execution of the plans to host this event. I remain grateful to the MEC for Social Development, as I've already indicated, Honorable Murakane Masupio, who responded positively to the call by the senior citizens to address them. We look forward to the resolutions being processed. Some of them already, there is a commitment from the chair and delivered to the executive. Please pass our greetings to Honorable Premier Makura, ma'am. Please tell him our Gogo Nabomkulu who are here, love him and continue to pray for him. And of course, one day we will appreciate before the end of his term, Ugutinati as a address. I'm sure Gogo Nabomkulu bayafuna address Ubab Makura ngisho. Yes, although we appreciate MEC, but so please, ma'am, communicate with him and ask him to come and address us. To our partners in the NGOs and other sectors, we are indeed thankful for your kindness and words of wisdom and for your continued support, vision, and commitment. To honorable members of the Senior Citizen Sector Parliament, those of us who are the embodiment of the legislature oversight are actually inspired by your leadership, the responses and deliberation that ensued today. As the chairpersons of committees, I recognized that this engagement assists in deepening relations with key sectors of community as veterans, as veterans in programs and aimed at improving the quality of lives of our people through legislative process with a view of radically transform, modernize, and industrialize Gauteng. I would like to take this opportunity to express our thanks and gratitude to the task team from GPL, who have tirelessly worked to make this event a success. Finally, let me take this opportunity to thank you, senior citizens, for sharing with us the aspirations and frustrations faced by your sector out there. I would have not done justice if I did not thank the Speaker and the Deputy Speaker of the 2021 Senior Citizens Sector Parliament for chairing the event successfully. This day gives us an opportunity as a collective to measure ourselves against the ideal of caring society. Ladies and gentlemen, you will agree with me that a true measure of a caring society is how best it values and it protects its citizens. Whilst we criticize and make demands on our government, it is also important that we make demands from our children. Families need to play a role in making sure that those that built this country, built them, are being well looked after. So abantwana bethu singabayeki must criticize the government. Angisho bogogo nabomkhulu. Abantwana bethu must look after us, not us looking after them. Hence the grant is meant for you, not for them. Asibeni clear lapho bomama. Chair. What chairperson? Kuri what's the king? Wabona la soil le disinya gare sa patele le rent le electricity. Because re dumela gore bana ba rona ba iphitle ka motlasa a diroko tsa rona ke re bonkgolo. Sometimes we really need to allow them to fly. Arba dumeleng again. Because if we don't allow them, gore ba fofe, a never ba fofe. Motho tla rana le 55 antsa re ma ga tu tlo ba ntate ning o tlo ba meni la nkutla bo mme ba ka le bontate ba a ke le chiki mara ke bua nneta kere you know magoa ngwana bona ha re 18 years although we know there's generational wealth but ngwana bona ha re 18 years wa qala wa fofa. That is why ba gcina bona ba le beterinyana gona le rona la ntlhaloganya kere so a re ba dumelane bana ba rona gore ba be bontate le bo mmene mhlanganyalang mhlala cala jola cala amithisa mubutso ra ena so lintate olimme ichebe ya umithisa kanjana umntwana. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, a very special thank you goes to all who attended this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable S. Nkosi Malubane, for the closing remarks. Participants are kindly requested to proceed to the front of the building for a photo session immediately after the sitting. You are also invited to join the GPL for lunch at the prepared place. That concludes the business for the day. The House is now adjourned.
May I have your attention, please, before we can stand up and allow for the Speaker to leave. We will have a photo shoot for all the participants or all the members. We'll take it at the stage just behind the Speaker. So all the members are requested to just observe when the Speaker goes out of the House and then come back, and then we'll all be moving up to the stage for the photo shoot. Thereafter, all of us will then join in at Maivuge for where we're going to have our lunch. But please, I have been requested to make a plea that whilst the photo shoot is going on, let us all remain seated to allow for everybody to then go to lunch together. Thank you.